Hello, hello. Welcome to another episode of Livestream Insiders. It's episode 163, and you know what? It is our very last episode, 2018. Yeah, we've been going for 163 weeks. We're about to power on into 2019. I'm Peter Stewart. Welcome to the show. My co-host is Krishna Day.
Thanks everybody for joining us here live. We'll be doing our best to watch out for your comments, be it live or if you're watching the replay. If you don't catch us here on Facebook, you'll also find us on YouTube and also whatever your favorite podcast app is, because we repurpose our content in that way. Peter and I are really passionate about live video and live audio. And our goal in terms of the show, if you haven't joined us before, is really to bring you the best practice case studies, news, tools, tips, and basically all that you need to do, whether you're getting started, thinking about going live in 2019, for example, or if you've got a lot of experience. And we know also that a lot of you are watching this perhaps on the replay, and we really appreciate you actually spending a little bit of time with us. But I think we've got a very interesting show to close off the year with. It's about a platform that has had lots and lots of updates. And I would suspect that, particularly if you're in a business, you're going to be paying attention, if you haven't done already, to this platform in 2019. I'm going to pass you back to Peter to tell you about what we've got in store for you today.
Absolutely. Well, we're going to be concentrating on Instagram. So this is something that we don't often talk about, this particular platform, but Instagram is going to be our kind of key subject for this week, because there's been quite a few updates, as Krishna has been saying. I'll talk about this week. It's been a busy week for me live streaming, but I've been involved in an international story. All I need to say to you is drones and Gatwick. That's where I've been live streaming from during the course of the week. But anyway, that's maybe for another episode of Livestream Insiders. Let's talk about Instagram then, and a few changes which have been made to that particular platform over the last couple of days. And now you can use the question sticker for music. And also in live as well. And we'll come to the live in a few moments' time, because I know Krishna's going to chip in as well. We've got 2 or 3 quite short different updates that each of us are going to be bringing you. And also there's a new interactive sticker in stories that lets you count down to moments if you want to have them with friends. But first of all, let's actually talk about how friends can reply to your question sticker with music, with songs of their particular choosing. So this is actually quite unusual, and I don't know of any other live platform which is doing that at the moment. They reply to your question sticker with a song from their music library, and then you can share your favourites that you see there coming up in front of you to your story. You see the music icon when you use the questions sticker. You open the viewers list to see all of the responses that various people are sending you throughout the duration of your particular presentation. You tap play to listen to those songs, and when you share, the music that you've actually chosen plays in the background. And also, more than that, also your camera app, the actual view that people get, responds to the beats of the song as well. So it's actually quite interactive and it's quite different. I did have a little look a bit earlier on today, and I'll be totally honest with you, it drove me a little bit mad. However, I can see that potentially it is engaging, particularly for a certain demographic, particularly if you're choosing the right song that maybe goes with the content or the style or the presentation that you've got going. If it actually fits in with what you're doing, then I can see that could be actually quite useful. And also, of course, it's another way for people to interact with you, not just through the text, not just through their comments that they're saying, but also they can choose the mood music, if you like, that goes with the presentation. And it's another way for them to, as I say, feel involved, and also perhaps to skew the way the conversation or the mood or the presentation of that production is going. You want to try it, then you swipe to music in the camera, and the new icon is just above the camera caption button. So that's the first of several updates with Instagram from me. And now let's go back to Krishna for another one.
Yeah, there's so many updates that are available. Peter, I don't know if you are using Instagram very much. I have to say I use it sporadically, and I definitely think it's a platform I'm going to be paying more attention to in the year ahead. Certainly I teach it in the workshops I deliver, and certainly for brands it's a great platform. One of the things, we're talking about live video, that I tested out. You were talking about it in terms of the countdown stickers, Peter. I actually did that in terms of when it first came out, in terms of using it to be promoting the show. So, for example, I actually did a countdown to tell people when you can actually watch Livestream Insiders. So that's a great way that you might want to think about using it. However, let's get on to another tool within Instagram that I really liked this week. And if one of the things that you might want to do is Instagram stories, as you may be aware, you can actually post photographs and you can post videos. And one of the challenges, let's say with your videos, it's only 15 seconds a piece. And therefore, what do you do if you've got a longer video? Well, very often you might want to use a third-party tool, and there are lots and lots of apps that you can use to slice up your videos to make them Instagram story ready. Of course, it's also better if you can optimize them to be portrait. That's a whole other story and a whole other day in terms of what we might want to do about how we're creating content relevant for different platforms. However, the big news this week is that providing your video is only a minute long. So I know lots of people have videos that might be more than 15 seconds, but they might be very short. Maybe they're only 90 seconds long. What you can do is directly within Instagram, if you have a video, it will automatically slice it into 4 parts. So it's no good beyond the 1 minute. That's why you still might want to use third-party tools. But then all of those will post in the order that you want them to go. And I think that's hugely time saving. So just be aware that if you've got content now, I'd say definitely if it's within 60 seconds, then that would be the best for this new feature within Instagram. The other thing you can do is you can choose up to 10. So when I was testing it, and I tested it on iOS, so I haven't tested on Android, but I could choose up to 10 pieces of content. That could be a mixture of photographs and video content that then would be posted all together. So there's some upsides in doing that in terms of sharing a complete story. However, I'm guessing that a downside for us would be one of the benefits I think lots of organizations are getting is that by posting content during the course of a day in terms of on Instagram stories, you're constantly pushing your content to be seen first in the newsfeed, right at the top of the newsfeed. So I think that this new feature is definitely one that I welcome, being able to automatically slice my video content up and to be able to post it directly from within Instagram rather than using a third-party tool. There's still a role for third-party tools, and I also think there's still a role for us to post multiple times, because I know people are getting a lot more interaction on their stories these days than obviously when I look at going back onto my newsfeed on Instagram and just scrolling through. I can see that actually, they're getting content, they're getting conversations, and obviously live video, which we'll come to later, but they're actually getting a lot of interaction with stories. And I know a lot of brands, huge number of brands that I follow, are actually very active in terms of pushing that content during the course of the day, which means it's always going to be there at the top of the newsfeed. So great to see this new feature come out. I think there's still a role for us to think about actually how we plan our content for stories during the course of 24 hours, but also, of course, then thinking about longer video, more than 1 minute in length. But 10 pieces of content you can post at once within Instagram stories directly now within the app. No update needed to happen. It was just immediately there for me to be able to access. So it wasn't that I had to update the app at all.
That's really interesting stuff, the way all these kind of integrations are coming together, and particularly at the end of the year, it's a kind of like a holiday present, because I also notice that broadcasters in Instagram Live can also share photos and videos from the camera roll into their live video. And Krishna, this is something that we've spoken about before, because There are many apps that do that, are they, as far as live streaming goes? And I know that Switcher Go does that, which is the free alternative to the much more feature-rich Switcher Studio. But it would be really good, wouldn't it, if Periscope / Twitter / Facebook Live also let you post either pre-recorded video or still images into your live stream in a much more kind of easy way. What do you think about that, Krishna? That's I think that's a really kind of interesting thing that they've done there that I don't think has got much publicity over the last few days.
Yeah, it's actually fantastic as an ability to be able to do that. So if you're following me on Instagram, you'll actually, or in fact on Twitter, you'll have seen me talk about this. And I just got a quick little screenshot that I can share with you in terms of what it looks like. But what you do is it's really easy for you to access. So when you go into your Instagram Live, if you start it, on the bottom right, there's a little square button which takes you to your camera roll. And what you can then do is share from your camera roll images or videos and leave it there as long as you want. You can also go back in terms of obviously being full screen. In the screenshot that you're seeing here, you can see my camera is in the top right. I had it actually facing my computer when I was doing the tests with it, and then I actually was sharing an image piece of content. But what this is a screenshot of what it looks like for the viewer. So when you actually come back and look at my story, you can say, do I want to look at Krishna's stories or do I want to look at her live content? So of course, I actually had stories and live that were going on in that particular day. And so that's why you could see different options there in terms of looking at my content. But it was really easy to be able to use it. I think it's huge benefits. As an example, again, you can have a fantastic call to action about telling people where to go to actually find more about the things that you're talking about. Again, it could be used for your live streams to remind people about actually, use it with the countdown timer for a story, of course, but in terms of in your live streams, you could actually be telling more about what's coming up on a show or what you did and how people can access a replay. And of course, that replay could be anywhere. You could be posting it to YouTube or Vimeo or Twitch or wherever it might be. But I think it's got lots and lots of potential. And I wonder if it's just going to be a matter of time before other apps are able to make this as easy for us to do. As I said, this for me was fantastic to see available. Not too many people have talked about it. I actually haven't seen an announcement from Instagram about it as of yet. But we will have all the links for the resources and the things that we're talking about today in the show notes, which we'll post at the end of the show. But if you haven't tested it out, I definitely suggest having a look at it. One thing I do find, and perhaps you want to leave a comment if you're watching this and tell me what your experience is. One of the challenges I found with Instagram Live is, even though I've enabled Instagram Live to be downloaded to my phone afterwards, because then if I want to, I can repurpose that live stream. I actually find it doesn't always work. So that's just something to be aware of. Always at the end of your live stream, if you've enabled it in your settings to save to your camera roll, just make sure it is there, because remember, again, you've only got that 24 hours for that content to be available. Of course, you can choose for it not to be available for people to watch, but I tend to leave my content available for people to be able to view it. But I do want to have my own content downloaded onto my camera roll to repurpose, and I'll move it from my camera roll with Dropbox. But let me know, are you also finding that as a challenge, not always getting that saved recording to your camera roll? Be interested to know what you think.
And bringing in pre-recorded video or still images from your camera roll into a live was something that was announced by Periscope. Must have been about 6 months ago. It was earlier on this year, back in the summer. I was actually at the presentation where that was announced, a little bit under the radar, and then it was announced more officially a couple of days later. But I still haven't heard any more about that, unless I've missed anything. But I don't think Krishna and I have our finger very much on the pulse of live streaming. So I don't think that we have. So maybe that is just around the corner. Maybe that's going to be a New Year's present. Another way to interact with people on Instagram Live is via the questions sticker. And what they've done is they've made it much more straightforward and much more simple to do, and it looks much better as well. It makes for a much less cluttered screen if you are viewing, and it's going to make it much easier, I think, for the broadcaster as well. Now, the actual write-up from the Instagram people themselves say it's going to make it more exciting and interactive. Interactive, certainly. I'm not entirely sure why they say it's going to be more exciting, just the different way that they've made it able, or made the ability for you to be able to go and ask a question. But there you go. You'll be able to join a live video, go to their story and ask a question, and then it'll appear in the broadcaster's list. And as I say, that's going to make it much easier for them to kind of sort with the greatest of respect, the wheat from the chaff, questions that they want, they can store up and ask later on. And also it makes it much easier for people who join to see exactly what the broadcaster is talking about at the time. So before, questions could very easily kind of get lost in the chaos and the clutter of all sorts of chat in the stream. And now the questions chosen by the broadcaster that they are going to be answering are shown on screen to everybody, so everyone can see the perspective. If they're joining halfway through a particular rant or an explanation or an answer in a AMA, then they know exactly where they are. They're brought up to speed immediately. And also what it means is that the questions can be asked before the event, before the live event, as well as during it as well. So that's another way to make things rather more corralled, if you like, and a little bit more organised. Again, something that perhaps Periscope and Facebook could benefit from as well. I like that idea, don't you, Krishna, of being able to ask questions before an event, but also for the broadcaster to be able to kind of corral them or curate them in somewhere, and for those to appear on the screen as a kind of overlay, instead of just that continual churn of comments and other questions that may be coming up during the live, which could, you know, clutter up the screen and also confuse people as well.
It's a great feature. I haven't tested that in live streams yet, but I do know somebody who did, and they seem to have a lot of glitches. And I actually saw that. I saw their replay, and they also were saying that they'd had some glitches with it. But it's definitely one to watch out for. And I think particularly for celebrities, it's going to be great, isn't it, in terms of being able to take key questions and then highlight those questions afterwards. And the other thing, of course, you could do is look to turn off the comments and then just really focus on those questions. But as I said, it probably just needs a little bit more testing, certainly by all of us who are thinking about using it. It's certainly what I've seen has not been perfect in execution so far, but you know, that could be down to human error as well. But it's been so many updates that we've seen from Instagram this year. I think they're really making an app that's one that a lot of people are paying more attention to. Clearly, in terms of a more youthful demographic as well, you know, the fact that you can do voice messaging directly within Instagram, and you know, it's definitely a platform that a younger cohort are there. But it's certainly not for people out, you know, who are just young. There's lots of baby boomers and beyond that I know who use Instagram as well. But it's definitely changed in terms of the way that I think we're all using it these days versus what we were doing in terms of 12 months ago.
We're going to be having the next couple of weeks off. Who can blame us? You know, it's December the 23rd, so give us a break for the Christmas and New Year period, and then we will be back a little bit after that. We're going to be back for the well, let's have a little look. Let's find the exact date, shall we? That it's going to be just in
6th
early
of January. It's
so
there on the screen.
Sunday, the 6th of January. Absolutely, Sunday, the 6th of January. We'll be back to bring you updates with everything to do with live streaming. And as you can see, 7 o'clock UK time, GMT as it is, 2 o'clock Eastern time on a Sunday. So it just remains for me and Krishna to say thank you so much indeed for watching during the course of 2018. It's really been appreciated. Thank you for all your support, and thank you so much indeed for watching, and best wishes to you and your family and your live streaming exploits for 2019. I don't know, it'd be really interesting to know whether you get up to any live streaming over the course of the holidays. Maybe you're at a Christmas party or an event. Maybe you're going to be live streaming the family. Maybe it's a church service or carols around a tree. Maybe it's a live streaming of New Year's Eve celebrations or present unwrappings. Or my memory goes back to some of those early video promotions from Facebook live streams as friends and family open the door to see you for the first time in a year or a couple of years, to capture that look on their face or the look on the faces of the kids as they unwrap their present. That could be really interesting stuff. If you see any fantastic live stream examples over the course of the next couple of weeks, or indeed over the course of the next 12 months, do point them in our direction, whether they're private, personal videos, obviously the ones which are available to the general public, or whether they're by brands, businesses, organisations, non-profits perhaps, charity organisations who may have been using live streaming over the course of the Christmas New Year period to appeal for help or donations or money or time or something like that. Do, as I say, point them in our direction. But thank you so much indeed for watching in 2018. And from Krishna and I, a very pleasant and peaceful and prosperous live streaming year ahead in 2019. That's it for now. See you on the 6th of January. Bye-bye.